Good morning. We'll call the City Council meeting for June 12, 2019 to order. At this time, join us for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please pray with me. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon us this counsel, the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose we may faithfully serve in our office to promote the well-being of all people in Tyler. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have the minutes from the April 10th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, a second by Westbrook. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. R1. Jimmy, are you doing R1? We're moving along here,
I
Jimmy.
think you guys are fast today. Somebody got plans somewhere, I bet. Come to you every year. We come back to you for reauthorization of our participation in the East Texas Auto Theft Task Force. It's this is our 28th year as we go forward, and Investigator Gary King not only works to suppress, but also investigate auto theft. Probably the most common thing you see is him out here as he's doing inspections of vehicles and trailers to help people get their registrations. But this is our continued participation. It costs us a little over $16,267 is our part, and the grant pays for the rest of his salary for the Tyler Police Department. So we come to you today for ask for your permission and your approval to move forward with the resolution authorizing our continued support and participation in that task force.
Great program. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve R1.
Second.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by Moore. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes
Thanks.
have it. Thank you, Jimmy. Or Chief Toller, excuse me. Hello, Mr. Trimble.
Good morning, Mayor, Council.
Morning.
Good morning.
You have item 01 before you. It's a request the City Council consider adopting our annual investment policy review and approval of an ordinance adopting the investment policy. This is our annual policy, and this is something that we look at annually. It's just a minor cleanup of our policy, and this is what we bring before you once a year. It is recommended the City Council approve the attached ordinance for the changes in our ordinance. In your packet, you'll see just some small changes to the policy. Having said that, we recommend that you approve.
No significant changes, and most of this is no significant changes.
No, sir.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Are there any questions of Keeter?
Move to approve R1.
Second.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by McGee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. M1, Chief Coble.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
Before you this morning, we have a request for City Council to consider an interlocal agreement between the City of Tyler and the City of White House for fire and first responder services. Back in 1991, we had an agreement with the county, and then later on, the ESDs were formed. And so that nullified that agreement, but we never had a cleanup where we went back and fixed it. So this is the first of what I hope to be 3 agreements. This first one would be with the City of White House. I'm also negotiating to come into agreement with ESD1 and ESD2, which are taxing entities at this point. And so we would have similar agreements with them as well. White House came to us, the chief there in White House came to us wanting this agreement. They have one fire station. We have a fire station number 9 on Biloxi, which is approximately 5 miles from their fire station in White House. So we can respond into their city in about 7 minutes. And this would not deplete any services that we have here in Tyler. If it ever got to the point where they requested more than what we needed for coverage here, we would take precedent over any mutual aid agreement. And so the recommendation is City Council approve the attached interlocal agreement between the City of Tyler and the City of White House for fire and first responder services.
I do appreciate you working on the agreement with the surrounding cities, because we would have covered them anyway.
Yes, sir.
If they would have needed help.
Yes, sir.
But it's good to have it formalized in a document. So thank you very much for your efforts on that.
And Mr. Mayor, one of the things,
Yeah.
if I can just add to that, that's one of the things that Chief Coble has been working on for a number of just some of the different things that we've done traditionally but haven't had any type of due policy or agreements to, is to look to see where is it that we can formalize these type of operations and make sure that that is a clear line of communication between us and our neighbors. And so this is one of those examples, and we are grateful for that.
Yeah, that's a great. Appreciate your efforts on that.
Okay.
Move to approve M1.
Motion by Warren, a second by Sellers. Any other questions of the chief? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. M2. Good morning, Ms. Crossman.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. In 2017, the city entered into a contract with Half Associates for a comprehensive citywide master plan, stormwater master plan. The intent of that project was, it was a multi-year project. It would span over 3 years. The intent of being to provide a comprehensive inventory of our existing storm sewer system that included the storm inlets and the storm pipes. It would also include a computer simulation, basically a pilot program of one selected area for a drainage study, and also a fairly extensive collection of data to identify hotspots that are prone to flooding throughout the city, and that would form the basis of an ongoing program where the city would be able to address those areas that are prone to flooding throughout the city. We are currently in the second phase and the second year of this program. However, staff has identified some additional work that needs to be done, and because Half Associates is so familiar with our existing storm drain system, we thought that it would be expedient to ask them to add this work into this comprehensive stormwater master plan program. The work that we're asking them to do is to identify the actual outfall locations. These would be the locations where the storm drain pipes actually discharge into the natural creeks or natural drainage ways. That work was never included in this program to begin with, but it is actually required by the city's MS4 permit, which is a requirement of the state. So we've asked them to provide an inventory and GIS map of the outfall locations, as well as to go and inventory and map some additional inlets that we managed to overlook in the first phase of the program, and finally to also provide a condition assessment of the storm sewer inlets throughout the city. The condition assessment is something that we just don't currently have the city staff available to do in-house. And again, because the Half Associates, along with Brandon Corporation, who is working for Half on this project, they've had so many people out in the field. They know exactly where all of our inlets are. So we're asking them to go and do a condition assessment, which will form the basis for a long-term maintenance program for city staff. So we've asked them to add this work as an amendment to this second-year contract. The value of this work is $320,900. This would bring the total year 2 contract up to $820,900. So we're asking that council authorize this contract amendment with HAF in the amount of $320,900.
It has always been my belief that in order, especially in this day and time, when we have incredible capacity with the computers, that we need to have this knowledge of all our systems readily available so we can do the proper planning of the future and how each addition in the future will interact with what we have and what we need to increase in capacity, what we need to be working on and focusing on, instead of just saying, okay, we're gonna go work on this tributary. Well, you know, we need to know why. And so while we have made a large commitment on some drainage work, this is very important for us to get the good factual data to move forward. So I'm glad that we're working on this for future councils to be able to deal with our drainage issues in the community. So I'm in favor of it.
I just have a question, Lisa. Can you define inlet for me? I mean, and I assume it would be like an inlet off Mud Creek?
The inlets actually refer to the storm drain inlets or curb inlets. These are,
Yeah,
for example, the picture
Okay.
included on the
Oh,
overhead.
okay.
So that is what the city is asking HAF to do the condition assessment for. The outfalls would be, again, the locations. So, for example, a pipe would leave that inlet and then go out and discharge into a creek. And so that discharge location is the outfall location.
Okay, thank you.
So when you did the study, do you find a lot of hot spots or troubled areas? Are you surprised at what you're seeing?
Not really. We have identified a lot of hotspots. They did a lot of that data collection and work and compiling it into a GIS map for us, so that really all we have to do is go into that map and you can see all the red dots. But a lot of that data was based on complaints that staff receives. It's just we had never had the opportunity or ability to really compile it in that map graphical format before. We were just relying on the memories of staff to know that, oh, we get a lot of complaints in this one area, but now it's easy to see.
Will we utilize that data? I know that we'll identify the hot spots and problem areas, but will we use that data to also evaluate engineering practices and so on for drainage entering into those floodways?
Yes, and in fact, that's part of the work that they're doing this year. This is, again, we're in phase 2 or year 2 of this program, and they are beginning the evaluation of our design criteria for drainage systems, any sort of ordinances or policies we have. We are experiencing a more rainfall, it seems, within the last several years, and we're not sure that our current design standards are really adequate to meet, you know, if this is going to be a trend where we're getting more rainfall and higher intensity rainfalls. We're not sure that our current design standards are adequate for that. So they are evaluating those. They'll be making recommendations. And then at the end of the year 3 program, they'll present us with a CIP program or a proposed CIP program that we can work into our funding strategy to actually start addressing those areas.
Thank you.
But if you have a new development that comes in, can you model the water that's going to be offshed from this new development and whether or not the drainage can handle it?
That's generally the responsibility of the engineer that's working on the development, but they would have to do it in accordance with the city's design standards. And so if we are able to evaluate our design standards and possibly revise them to address this higher rainfall situation that we've seen the last several years, then the engineers that are working on developments would be able to design to those new higher standards.
Any other questions?
Move to approve M2.
Motion by Westbrook, second by Sudduth. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. M3.
It's good to be back with y'all again. I come here this morning requesting that the City Council consider authorizing the city manager to execute a temporary easement and right-of-way use agreement with Green Acres Baptist Church for the use of parking spaces on Barber Street. In the near future, Green Acres Baptist Church is planning some building projects. Some of that's going to take up the parking spaces to the north side of the sanctuary and the crosswalk as they build those projects. This easement is talking about the 1500 and 1600 block of Barber Street that'll be used from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. on Sundays and during special events like the 4th of July, Christmas, and any other ones they designate. And it's 37 spaces and allows them to enter into an agreement with us, pay the annual fees associated with such. This is a one-year term, 2 automatic renewals as we go forward, and just our normal language through legal as they put this together with the indemnifications and everything else that goes along with it. So it gives them that extra parking spaces they need as they begin their building projects and kind of help them through this process.
Questions?
No.
We've worked through this process, and Don and I have discussed it on a couple of occasions, and I think this is probably the best solution for right now.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Is that
I
a
move to approve.
That's a motion.
Yeah,
Second.
I move to approve M3.
A motion by Sellers and second by Warren. Any other questions of Chief Tiller? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Kaboom. M forward.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
I'm excited to be here today about something happy. This is a request that the City Council consider authorizing the application for an acceptance of a Kaboom grant for the playground equipment for Gasaway Park in the amount of $80,000. Gasaway Park is located off the North Loop on Martha Street. Let me. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time. You're the last item of the day.
Okay, there we go. Last year, we held a public meeting with that neighborhood surrounding that park to gain some insight on how we can improve that space. From that meeting, we decided to move the playground to the upper portion of the park to be better utilized. Kaboom is a national nonprofit who are dedicated to giving kids great, safe places to play. They have built over 17,000 play spaces that serve over 90 million kids and have engaged 1.5 million volunteers all over the country. This grant will be similar to the Southside Park project in that it will be a community build model. We reached out to Kaboom regarding the grant, and they followed up fairly quickly to let us know that there was a funding partner interested in this Gasaway Park project. We actually won't know the funding partner until after it's approved by you guys today. This grant includes an approximately $80,000 worth of playground equipment for a $2,500 square foot play space. And while majority of these grants do not actually include shade structure, the funding partner has specifically said that they want to provide shade structure for this park. We went through an hour-and-a-half pretty intense interview process with the Kaboom grant people regarding just the city of Tyler as a whole and what we love most about our community. And then we went over specific project details as well as we walked through the process of how the grant will work once awarded. My favorite thing about this grant is going to be the fact that we are actually going to have a design day specifically for kids in that neighborhood, and we're actually going to set aside some time for them to come in and design their dream playground to actually have their input that goes into this design. The project timeline, if awarded, will be as follows. The design day will be July 30th, which will include a 1-hour design session with the kids and a 2-hour design session with the adults. We will have a prep site walkthrough 2 days before build day, which will be September 19th and 20th. And then build day will actually be September 21st. Once it's built, it does need to sit for 72 hours, so we're planning on a grand opening of September the 28th. It is recommended that the City Council approve authorization of the application for and acceptance of the Kaboom grant for the playground equipment at Gasaway Park.
We're really proud of you. You
Thank
did a
you.
great job. You
We're
worked
really
really
excited.
hard on this project, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd like to thank you and Russ Jackson for participating in this project. And like I said, this has been an ongoing project for that community area for the last year or so. I guess you mentioned shade. What about the trees? Do we still have the little trees still planted?
Yes.
Okay.
We are working on the whole reforestation of the bottom of that park.
Well, we've got one more tree that's going to be added later on, right? Okay.
Yes.
But thank you anyway for your hard work on that. With that said, I make a motion to accept them 4.
Second.
Motion by Moore, a second by Sudduth. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Job well done. Thank you. Now we're to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Westbrook, a second by McGee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. City managers report.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council, a few things of note that we want to kind of brief council on, as well as the community. During the week of May 13th, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality completed its annual comprehensive compliance inspection of the City of Tyler public water utility system. Our public water utility system is comprised of over 700 miles of distribution and service lines, 2 surface water treatment plants, which have a total of nearly 60 million gallons per day capacity, 11 groundwater wells, 6 elevated storage tanks, 5 ground storage tanks, and 4 booster pump stations. The inspector checked approximately 1,040 items during the inspection. We were given a compliance rate of approximately 98.6%. Many Tyler Water Utility employees were involved in the inspection. We'd like to thank them all for their help in making this such a successful inspection. Construction is also progressing smoothly on the old Bullard Road drainage improvements. Work on the west side of the road has been completed and has now been moved over to the east side of the road. The southbound lane is closed and the southbound traffic is being routed onto the northbound lane. The northbound traffic is being detoured around the area, and we have not received any complaints since construction began on this project approximately a month or more ago. Leanne was just up here, and we also wanted to also talk a little bit about just how she was able to work with TISD athletic staff to finalize the details for the joint use of the Tyler ISD swimming pool for this summer, with the program starting on Saturday, June 22nd. As a reminder, we were quickly put in the position of having to close Fund 4's pool when we learned that during excavation in the pool house repairs that the 1930s era pipes had a leak in the pressure system. In addition, we'll be providing free transit service to the pool. Also, Chief Coble was up here earlier, and I want to brag on him just a little bit. The fire department received grant funding from the Brookshire's Fresh 15 run to provide for our first fire safety house. This inflatable mock house will teach children around the area about the need for mindfulness in their home safety and what to do if the fire alarm goes off, if there's smoke in the house. And so we're excited about this new asset for our fire department. And then on Thursday, the City of Tyler Communications Department received the Texas Association of Municipal Information, the TAMI Award of Honor for Best Video Educational PSA for our Walking with Bob series. Congratulations, Bob Malden, with his win and pioneering this excellent educational series that you can find on our YouTube channel.
And he's back there,
There we go.
behind that glass.
That's all I have, man.
Great. So now we can adjourn. To adjourn?
So
A
moved.
motion, a second. We are adjourned. This might be the fastest council meeting in the history.
Just prepare for the next one.
We are adjourned.